Did I say rave then? That sounds amazing. Scarlet Enclave Rave. Scarlet Enclave Rave. Scarlet Enclave Rave.
Welcome, everybody, to another show of Tavern Talks with Sheal. Today, not on Northernar. No, I am still listening on Northernar though. I have set up two accounts. I am dancing on my account on Northernar at Scarlet Monastery. But today I am not at home on Northernar. No, I am on the South American servers today. Because you guys listen to the radio so much, you guys deserve your own little show today. So today I am at the Scarlet Monastery at the South America server, and I just want to say to the people on the South Seas server, bienvenidos a Tavern Talks con Sheal, aquella música con veta historias y a cada ritmo es una infestación a perdes a la noche. I have no idea what I just said, but I had to say it anyway. Is anybody listening currently on South Sea? Please let me know in the world chat. I'm all ears to you guys right there. You can come dance with me with all the great vibes at Scarlet Monastery lobby. Also, if you are on Northernar and you see me there, I am currently standing there, but I won't reach you right now. However, I always will listen or watch my streams back right after the show, and I read up to every single message that pops up on World Chat. So even though I'm not replying to you now, I will read it eventually. Big ups for Toreen, who said big up DJ. She is hearing me loud and clear, or he is, I'm not sure. But today will be a very great event. For today we have the following guests on our show. First of all, we have Vahaenys from the Scarlet Legion guild, a big RP guild on Northernar, and he is telling all about what his guild is all about. Also, we have an interview with Elberetha from, actually, South America. He is playing on Northernar though, but he is from South America, and he is going to tell about his mage tank endeavors. You heard that right. He is a mage and he is tanking dungeons. A mage tank, can you believe that? And he's going to tell you how he's going to do it, and also how to give him a chance actually. That's why he did it. And lastly, we have a third guest, which is Ellyy from the guild Hard Chores, who died on a raid with their Inferno hardcore raiding guild, Hard Chores, in AQ40. And that went down really bad. Not just for them, also for me. If you follow Reddit or just the Northernar chat, then you knew what happened. But he is going to tell everything about what happened there, and what the cause was of that, and the insights about how it is to hardcore raid. But now, enough talk. It's time for some music, and I listen to you guys. I know how much you guys love techno music. I heard that loud and clear. And I will definitely live up to that expectation. We have more techno, a little bit less metal, but I have a surprise for you metal loving fans at the end. I promise you that. So first of all, we're going to start this Scarlet Enclave Rave with a true Scarlet Enclave themed music segment. But it's not going to be all boring church stuff like songs. We're going to hype it up real bad. Real good, I must say. That was not great. And I'm also going to do a live mashup during this segment here. If you want to see how I'm doing that, I'm currently also live on Twitch, DJ Sheal on Twitch. You can see me there mixing that mashup live if you like to. So please, come visit me on Twitch, talk and we'll chat and have a great time. Here is Countess. People stuff is going down. Is South America even alive though? Nobody's dancing here. Get your ass to Scarlet Monastery, guys. Here we go. So guys, how are you liking that last song, by the way? That was actually a mashup of 3 separate songs. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I just walked over to my second PC, and the Raver is already starting there big time. How is the South Seas currently doing? Are you actually liking the show thus far? Are even people listening on South America? Otherwise, I'm just going to switch over to Northernar, of course. No responses. Okay, let me say it like this. Si quieren fiesta del verdan tienen que venir a Monasterio Escalata. I hope everybody understood that one. But we are already we're already out of time for this live talk. Currently, I just walked over to my other account over there in the corner, and this is about the next guest. They have their whole guild show up at Scarlet Monastery. Currently, you are not seeing that on my Twitch stream of Tavern Talks with Sheal. Though, because that one is looking at South America, where it's just Mohawk and Dandelion eating with each other, and one little dwarf just standing confused around. But they are currently RPing going into this next interview, which is with Vahaenys of the Scarlet Legion. So please, Vahaenys, come on up. And I hope you are ready, because we really like to know what you are going to tell us. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Hi, man. Well, I met you a little bit of a coincidence, because I was just leveling or farming my mats at Hilbert's Foothills when I encountered you guild doing one very big event. Kate, please tell me, what is the Scarlet Legion about?
Yeah, it seems like you ended up being caught in the crossfire there of our battle, but we are a Scarlet-themed guild, a branch off of the Crusade. Essentially, the premise is that we kind of, noticed the corruption that we, was later found in like Balnazar as Datherhan, and kind of split off to do our own thing free of that corruption, with the fun twist that we're kind of just as prone to it as the rest of the Scarlets.
Okay, well, please tell me, could you share the founding story of the Scarlet Legion and the core mission that drives your guild within the Turtle Well community?
Yeah, so there's kind of 2-factor in our foundation. The primary reason being I was kicked from the Scarlet Crusade. There was some stuff that went on a long time ago. It's all ancient history now. More of the in-character reason, is more of the, religious zeal doesn't just disappear. You don't get kicked from one organization and be like, you know what, I don't believe in this anymore. So I figured it was prudent for this character to want to kind of build up his own little empire.
So you're more like a subgroup from the Scarlet Crusade that just went inside another path, for example?
Essentially, yeah, that's not a bad way to describe it. We're not adhering to their command structure. We don't serve a Bendis. We're kind of our own thing. In fact, we're technically at war with the Crusade in our current campaign, trying to carve out a little bit of the Scarlet Empire for ourselves. But yeah, we're technically not affiliated with them outside of the belief system and the fact that we wear red.
Okay, and are you guys consider yourselves more extremist or less extremist, or more fanatic is probably the better word to put it?
I think it kind of falls somewhere in between. It's one of those things, like we do tend to fall into that religious fanaticism. We are definitely not the most peaceful group, but we do try to, I guess, conceal it a little bit more. A lot of our aggressive tendencies tend to come out when we're in private, like hiding away from people. You'll catch glimpses of it here and there, but the majority of it is we're trying to kind of portray ourselves as different from the Crusade. So, in terms of, interacting with the Alliance and other factions that, similar to that, we kind of have to differentiate ourselves somehow. So we kind of play that politics a little bit more. We kind of lean into the diplomacy and the, like, we're not the bad guys kind of angle.
So more like your enemy, my enemy is your enemy, and therefore you are my friend.
Exactly. You know, we're slowly starting to push towards the big reveal that we're basically doing the same thing, but it's something that we feel should be unveiled in time, slowly, bits by bits. You know.
Okay, very clear. How does your role-playing events and your PvP interaction coexist with each other? How does it work out? Can you give us an example?
So yeah, I mean, you made it the perfect example yourself. Is the Battle of Hillsbrad that we had going on. It was entirely predicated on the fact that we needed to establish ourselves somewhere that was not riddled by the actual Crusade, and so we figured we would start in Hillsbrad, kind of work our way around and carve out different areas. And so that was our in-character reason to kind of, push through and build a base camp. And as a result, the way we're kind of playing it is we have hints now that they are working on something, the Forsaken, right? They're working on this, out of character, it's a new plague, right? And so it kind of gives us a reason to keep pushing and moving into these Forsaken areas rather than focus wholly on the Scourge or on the Crusade. It kind of gives us that story beat to work with there. But that's all of our PvP events. We do the same general thing. There's always a reason behind it, even if it does seem like senseless killing.
So your events are building onto each other and adding to the deeper depth of a bigger story.
Exactly. So this is like an entire kind of mini campaign we have going, which is us trying to halt or slow the progression of this new plague.
Okay, and how do you organize those events? Because if you're swinging your sword around all your characters in game, how can you still RP in that moment?
I will admit it is very difficult to, mechanically PvP and roleplay at the same time. We tend to try to find lulls to throw in some messages and some commands there, but we do have a command structure within the guild, and we do tend to adhere to it even in that PvP structure. So you'll have, let's say the general's present, right? He's going to be given the orders, and you're going to be trying to obey and react to that, right? So whereas it might make more sense to just charge headlong into the town, we might, opt for like an encirclement or something kind of like that.
Okay, thank you. The community engagement specifically, how does your guild interact with the community that's on Northernar that are mostly non-RP players? How do you involve them?
Well, we try to get them involved as much as we can. We will still continue our, speeches and our commands and whatnot if we are interacting with the wider Turtle WoW community. Whether or not they choose to interact back is entirely their decision, but we still give the order as if they were some kind of auxiliary, somebody that we're just kind of conscripting to come help with us. They more or less, we have positive interactions with them. They enjoy what we do. We often get the cool T-Mog message, but their involvement is as limited or as unlimited as they want it to be.
Yeah, I can. I am an example of that because I reached out to you. Hey, this is cool. Come on my show, and here we are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I really appreciate it too because it was a super big event. We tend to pull a lot of people for our PvP events, but that one was particularly large. Almost, I want to say, upwards of 100 people total on both sides combined.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty big, and we plan to do it again. So that's a warning to all the hordes out there.
Okay, you've been warned. Considering a traditional guild, what are specific challenges that an RP guild like yours might face, in contrary to the more vanilla type of guild?
Well, like any RP guild tends to have their fair share of, let's call them interlopers, right? People coming in who aren't RPers who want to intentionally disturb that RP. That's probably the biggest thing. But within the RP community itself, it is particularly difficult to play the bad guy faction and play it well because you are antagonistic, you are, kind of malicious in the way you act and talk, and my character in particular has a pretty holier than thou kind of attitude, which makes it very hard to interact with other people in general. Usually they understand, it's just an in-character thing, and it's, out of character, we're all generally pretty nice, pretty outgoing, friendly, welcoming. But that is a major hurdle to overcome, is that a lot of people just don't want to interact with you.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. But does your RP also continue in world chat, for example, or in the guild chat?
So we allow people to continue their roleplay in different channels, whether it's out of character channels on the Discord, or it's world chat or whatever, if they choose to. We don't, have anybody specifically enforcing that. It's more of a personal preference. If you want to stay in character 24/7, you are welcome to do so.
Well, that sounds exhausting, but pretty cool.
Hey man, you gotta commit to the bit, right?
Yeah, I get that. What are your core guild cultures and values?
Mostly, it is to embody the Scarlets as much as we can. Obviously, it's easier said than done given the amount of information that we have available. But that is the big thing, is to remain Scarlet, right? We don't want to lean too far towards what would be considered like Argents, or too far into what would be just crazy militants, right? There's a fine balance in between. That's like the big thing that we push. Aside from that, it's make sure that the role play that we conduct with people is more or less consensual, right? We don't want to force our beliefs on people more than we have to, and we don't want to take control of the situation in a way that's unfair to other players. And I think generally people have come to appreciate that about our guild, so.
I think it's very funny that you roleplay as a religious fanatic and then say we don't want to push that more than necessary as well.
We do push it. We try to push it where we can, but you can only force someone to convert to the light so many times, right? Before it becomes just obnoxious.
And then you just kill them.
Yeah, if they'll let us, that's the key.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, good answer. Okay, for recruitment and membership, how do you recruit potential new RPers for your guild specifically? Is there a certain trial or a certain application that people have to go through?
So you just open up the largest can of worms there is to open. But, basic recruitment is pretty simple. We tend to either be around, be a presence, we'll give speeches in public, we'll go on marches, we'll hold events, welcome to other people into it, and kind of see if they're interested in it. We do have a more rigorous application process, I would say, in that we require all people to meet with us and RP with us for a while to see if we're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for us. Because it is kind of an extreme style of roleplay. It is hard to get into, and you have to be willing to do it. But even deeper than that, we have trials in character, these processes and these things you must undergo in order to progress through the guild. We do initiation ceremonies. You're not really a full member until you've been in for a while and you attend one of these ceremonies, swear an oath, all that kind of stuff. But we take those things very seriously. I like to think that we tend to lean towards the more extreme end of serious RP.
Oh wow, so cool that even if you come in your guild, that you still have to earn your keep in a RP sense. That's a lot of dedication and really admirable.
Yeah, thank you. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of trial and error with that, but we feel it's kind of important when you're joining a holy order to have it feel like you are making a major change in your life, which is why we make this grandiose initiation ceremony. We make everyone come in, swear their oaths. We usually have extra things added to that event to kind of cement it and solidify it. But we're very theatrical with it because it should feel like it's important, like it's a major sacred thing that you're doing.
Okay, what are your future plans? One of the big plans that you have laying ahead of your guild, the Scarlet Legion.
I mean, there is a great many, world domination not being excluded there, but primarily right now we're trying to wrap up our Legacy of the Crimson Throne campaign, which has us kind of chasing after what's left after Dathraham was exposed and defeated. Which is also what leaves us at war with the Crusade, which is a very interesting little story beat. But after that, we're turning our attention to our core values, right? The Scourge, the liberation of Lordaeron, and in our case, Quel'Thalas as well. And kind of turning it on the Horde and the Scourge as a whole, kind of focusing on them a bit. But most of our efforts are completely centric to that Lordaeronian Quel'Thalas kind of area.
Okay, one piece of advice for aspiring roleplayers could you give them if you have to put that in one sentence?
One sentence, don't be afraid to walk up. Don't be afraid to walk up and interact with strangers. You get a lot out of that.
Okay, thank you very much for this great story. I think this was one of the most original guilds I ever have had on this show thus far. So thank you very much for going into the next metal songs I had. With what shall I start it with? Up to you.
I think a fitting song would be Lynx by Rammstein.
Lynx 2, 3, 4. Very
Yes,
fitting. Very good. Here is Links 234. Have a good evening, man. Thank you very much.
You as well. Thank you, brother.
Herzenbrechen können, Herzenschmerzen.
Okay guys, I hope you like that metal segment, because it's the only pure metal that I have for today. And I said pure metal, indeed. I just switched off on my Twitch stream DJ Sheal, to Northern for a bit, because there is an epic dance battle going on between the Scarlet Legion and some Horde fellas, and it seems that the Horde is losing it, because one by one they are falling over. It's truly epic. How are you guys feeling, by the way? Are you having a great time already? Because, for my understanding, we are just starting off. I still have a lot of energy, I still have a lot more music. But before we're going to dance a little bit more, because this dance party is going on for so long, we need to be a little bit more getting into the real stuff. We had some RP. Vahaenys is screaming at me, DJ speak for the light, and I will do. And the light is in this time, it's Elberetha, the Mage tank. The Mage tank. You hear that correctly. Elberetha, thank you so freaking much for coming. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, it's a pleasure.
Cool, very cool. Well, for the people that never encountered you, what do you do? What does your character make you special?
So, as weird as it sounds, I am a mage tank. I tank dungeons as a mage.
That's indeed very strange, if I can say. How do you do that?
So I have a lot of PvP gear that I didn't really have a use for in the raiding scene, and I got bored of PvP, so I decided to try something different, and I was also tired of waiting for a warrior or a paladin to tank my dungeons, so why not do it myself?
Yeah, in times of scarcity, people have to be creative to come up with your own solutions. I think it's very cool. Do you use a separate dual spec, especially to be able to tank, or just you custom build one?
It's a different spec. I have like no threat reduction talents on my spec, and I also go Deep Frost for the defensive spells like Ice Barrier and Ice Block.
Okay, and how do people react when you all of a sudden show up as a potential tank for their dungeon group?
Usually I get kicked from the group, so I had to like advertise a lot in word chat for people to believe me. But I swear, the healers that run with me, they love me. I have like a list of healers added that love to run dungeons with me.
Okay, so if you get some little more recognition on the server, that's probably going to help you to be even more of a tank in other dungeon groups, probably.
Exactly, like people are afraid to give it a try, but I swear it works pretty well.
But how do you manage to keep threats? To my knowledge, mages do not have any threat increasing abilities.
True, they have one. Counterspell has a threat modifier, and if you don't take the threat reduction talents on the arcane tree, it works like almost as a taunt. Like it works pretty well.
Which kind of pulls are the most difficult for you to perform as a mage?
I would have to say like pulls with too many ranged mobs like casters or ranged attackers. They are pretty difficult to deal with because they do a lot of damage to me. I can't kite them to per se.
Is that the only one, or do you have more?
Trash packs, not really, but when we are talking about like dual bosses like the Emperor in Blackrock Depths and Diamond North, the King and the Gordok Healer, those are really difficult to deal with, but other than that, everything is okay.
Do you think it's even easier than a warrior tank or a paladin tank?
For trash, yes it is. It's like a mage boosting you through the dungeon. You just pull half the dungeon at a time and kite using Cone of Cold and Arcane Explosion.
Does the DPS do then at that point if you are already hammering down on everybody?
Yeah, they try to keep up. I'm not gonna lie, rogues and warriors, like melee classes in general, they don't like to run with me because I move the mobs too much and they have to like catch up to me. But they try.
Do you have any big goals for your tank mage than just the end game dungeons?
I plan on tanking like 20 man raids like Zugurub and AQ20, but it's pretty difficult without a taunt, so let's see how it goes.
Well, I do it with my guild. We are running Zugurub. Are you willing to try with us? Because I love to see you in action.
Oh, for sure I am willing to try. I would love it, honestly. I just need to be given a chance. Like, I'll do my best to make the smoothest run possible.
You know what? I'm going to invite you right now to run the group with us in the coming month. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful. I would love it. Thank you for the chance. Really.
Absolutely. Well, creative people deserve a chance, in my opinion. Do you have any final thoughts you like to share?
Please give your local mage tank a try. I swear it's worth it, especially if you are gearing up. It's not great if you're like a next geared warrior, like I can't keep up with your threat. But if you are gearing up in a dungeon and you are tired of looking for a tank, please give me a chance.
Well, that sounds like a lovely last thought. Well, we are concluding our interview and we're going into the next music segment. Do you have a specific song you like to request?
I would love, please, Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper.
Here is Blue Oyster Cult with Don't Fear the Reaper. Thank you very much.
Don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand, don't fear the reaper. We'll be able to fly, don't fear the reaper. Baby, I'm your man. La 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 la. La 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 la.
guys, you know what time it is? It's Techno time, baby! So here we go. Now, let's see if Northern Art chat is more active than South America. Start spamming Techno time in world chat right now. And I did not have my cross-traded to the right side, so I was hearing it, but you guys were not. That's so bad. Okay, here we go.
My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all. The morning rain clouds up my window, and I can't see it all. And even if I could, it'll all be grey. But your picture on my wall, it reminds me that it's not so bad, it's not so bad.
Every night I say your name, hoping that that you'll answer, cause I'm going insane. It's quite a long time ago, you brought me out of control. Hungry for your love and like I know what that might be. Know what that might be. From Paris to Berlin and every disco I get in, my heart is pumping for love, 'cause when I'm thinking of you and all the things we could do, my heart is pumping for love. From Paris to Berlin and every disco I get in, my heart is pumping for love, 'cause when I'm thinking of you and all the things we could do, my heart is pumping for love. You left me longing for you. You left me longing for you. You left me longing for you. Voy a enseñar. 1, 2. Secunda la bondad. 3, 4. En blanco el piso. 5, 6. Repita conmigo otra vez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repita conmigo otra vez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Secunda la bondad. 3, 4. En blanco el piso. 5, 6. Repita conmigo otra vez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Repita conmigo otra vez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repita conmigo otra vez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close your eyes. We can all go and share our happiness. Close your eyes. We can all go and share our happiness.
Well guys, that were not the best mixes that I could perform, but I had some great technical difficulties during that segment. I hope you guys did not notice that much about it thus far. Still, I am raving, we are stomping, we are bumping right here at the Scarlet Monastery, both on the South America service and on Northernar, on two servers at the same time. Can you believe that? It's a lot of work to reorganize that all technically, and also trying to do some Spanish, some Portuguese here and there. Esto me siento sochino. I cannot even talk English or my native language, let alone what I'm doing right here at the moment. However, we are now at the last interview, but before we're going to do that, it's with Ellyy. That's a big one. You guys probably know what went down when I tried to contact that guild. But we are first. I want to talk about my lovely DJ Noferus right here. He is also vibing on Northernar at the moment, and he did a great show on the Chinese servers earlier this morning for me, and very early morning for him. He is also online on this Wednesday, I think. Was it this Wednesday? He never replied. I think it's this Wednesday that he will be on again, so be sure to check him out then. Also, if you like DJing, I just have a small DJ controller. It's nothing that difficult, but if you have any knowledge about how you can live DJ, then please reach out to me or to Noferus, or especially to Dan, and get online, get on the show. It's much fun. I had so many great moments with you guys. It's absolutely a blast that I can do this for you. And if you have any experience in this field whatsoever, come join us. I was not that good either. I only DJ'd in college when I had more than 5 beers, and now I do it basically sober. And it's not that hard if you have that experience. So please do. I hope you guys are ready for Ellyy from the guild Hard Chores. And boy what a guy. He was so epic. I did not even realize that one of his characters died instead. But he's going to tell you all about it. Please welcome Ellyy from the guild Hard Chores. Welcome!
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, you specifically are in a hardcore raiding guild, so you are raiding on max level with hardcore still on. Can you explain a bit what the challenge is about?
Yeah, so the challenge is just, it's the hardcore challenge except extended to level 60 and all level 60 content. So most players on Turtle WoW leveling up as hardcore have experienced the hardcore challenge, doing as much content as they can from 1 to 59, and it's the same sort of idea at level 60, right? Except instead of leveling, now we're trying to clear all the raids on Turtle WoW.
That sounds very scary, I must say, but fun. Well, but I want to talk about a specific event that happened on April the 12th, because you were in AQ40. What happened there?
Well, we were fighting Huhuran, and we had been preparing up to Huhuran for a couple of weeks, or like maybe 2 months at that point almost. And it wasn't a wipe, but we lost 7 players, mostly due to a bug. As you may know from running AQ40, Huhuran has an enrage phase at 30%, where she starts poison bolt volleying, and it hits the nearest 15 players. And the normal sort of trick to deal with this is to get a bunch of pets out. So summonable pets, hunter pets, and in particular we use the Barrow Peasant Collar, where summons 3 peasants, and you just have everyone pop your Barrow Peasant Collar, 35%, 30%-ish, and your peasants soak the poison bolt volley. But at the time, there was a bug where if you were in combat and you summon your peasants and you selected another target, it would instantly put you in combat with that target as well. So what happened was, well, this part we're actually not 100% certain on, but somehow someone selected an Anubisat Defender. We think it was an add-on or something, like an add-on scanning and just like automatically targeting and untargeting a nearby mob. So I think we think that's what happened, but we're not 100% sure. But it put us in combat with the defender.
You mentioned that it was a bug, but is it a bug specifically for Turtle WoW, or is it a bug for Vanilla WoW? So just part of the raid, like it always was.
It's a bug for Turtle WoW. It's been fixed now. It got fixed almost, I think, maybe the week after we lost the players. And it didn't work like that in the past either. I think something just broke. But in any case, yeah, so we pulled the defender like that, and yeah, stuff went south from there. So what ended up happening is that, normally you have your Barrow peasants soaking that poison bolt volley instead of your players. But now all our peasants run off to fight this Anubisat defender charging at us. And so people start taking raid damage that way.
And that was just too much.
That was a lot of extra damage, but unfortunately also, if you've ever fought those defenders on Turtle WoW, you know they have a special fun ability where they will, if you're on their threat table and no one is in melee range of them, then you'll get teleported on top of them. And so what ended up happening is that since we were in combat with the defender, the only people getting on the threat table were healers, right? And so it was a bunch of healers just getting teleported to him. And by the time we realized what was happening, it was kind of already too late. People were getting killed, and we called Petri almost immediately after that. But yeah, so it was really a bad confluence of things. So also it was all our healers getting teleported, massive raid damage plus lack of healers. Then you get people dying.
So it was a big mix of unfortunate events happening.
And actually, even worse is that they have the meteor spell where it calls down a meteor and it splits the meteor damage between everyone nearby, which you would normally have people stack, but for Huhuran, you have people spread out because of the noxious poison. So you don't get a bunch of people silenced. And so we had some people die to a meteor as well because they were playing the Huhuran encounter right. But unfortunately, the bug happened, we pulled the defender, and so there's basically no playing it right at that point except to instantly Petri, which we did as soon as we realized what was going on.
Yeah, I also saw the VOD of your players getting killed. Were those the only ones that you lose, or were there more losses in that chaos that was unfolding?
In that VOD, I think you see everyone die who died that day. So yeah, I think that was it.
because you acted quickly, you were able to contain the damage, let's say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, given that it was a bug that we had no idea existed, we did basically as well as we could. I personally should have reacted quicker and called something, but in part, I think we were slow to call something because it wasn't a slow kill, but it was like maybe probably going to be 3 or 5 seconds slower than normal. And so I was paying attention to other stuff. I was paying attention to being ready to tell people to repop Greater Nature or call for heals in someone. And so I wasn't looking at like, what are those peasants doing? You know, why are they running that direction? If I had noticed that, we could have called it earlier, but it would have saved us like 2 or 3 seconds at most. And so I don't know. There's not much else we could have done.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Well, with losing so many Inferno players, that's undoubtedly challenging. How do you recover from that? How do you get those spots filled again?
Well, I mean, something that's special about Hard Chores, I think, is that it's just the level of dedication of players. And that's in part due to the fact that we just have some great and dedicated people, and in part due to the fact that it's just like, it's a special community. We like have movie nights and stuff. There's a lot of loyalty, a lot of dedication, and a lot of trust amongst the raiders. So we're not stepping back into AQ40 for maybe 2 or 3 more weeks, but we had alts ready. We had people ready to step up. So in terms of rebuilding, it happened immediately, and we were prepared.
And did your strategy change after this event for future raids?
Well, I mean, definitely we'll be looking closer for this sort of thing because it could happen again. But since it is due to a bug, I'm hoping it never happens again, right? We'll be looking at the peasants to make sure like no one gets teleported, and people definitely react quicker. But it's a bug, so it shouldn't happen again. I mean, definitely we'll put a greater emphasis on the execute phase or like the enrage phase for killing Huhuran, but already we were aware of the dangers there. So in terms of getting her dead quick, like there's not much else we can improve on there.
Well, the community reaction in World Chat and on Hardcore Chat specifically was a bit mixed. Some were showing support and others were less empathic. How has this affected the guild interaction with the broader Turtle WoW community?
Well, I think always this is just a feature of playing hardcore. I think pretty much. I don't know. You see any random high level player die, a level 50 dying to something, and half the people in in hardcore chat are saying like rip, and the other half are saying what an idiot, and like it's just a feature of the game mode, right? Some people are kind of toxic, some people are supportive. So I'm not surprised that some comments were negative. I'm not surprised we got some support as well. So it doesn't really change how I interface with the community or how we interface with the rest of the hardcore community. I think it's par for the course in some sense. I mean, I just hope like one thing I do hope is that I hope it doesn't give people the impression that like hardcore raiding is like particularly unsafe or particularly a waste of time. I mean, just as an example here, I think we've been raiding Blackwing Lair for about 6 months now, and over the course of 6 months, we lost 3 players total, and 2 were just due to like pure personal mistakes, right? And only 1 was due to like actually something going wrong. And so overall, it's pretty safe. This sort of thing is pretty rare. Of course, it's a possibility, but it's not like we're taking serious risks or like we're gonna put your character in serious risk of dying. We plan like to the greatest possible extent for every encounter, and like it takes a bug like this in order to actually see some deaths at this scale. So if anything, it's almost proof of how safe it is when it's approached correctly.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, if you have done these raids in the past for, let's say, 200 times, it really adds to that experience to enjoy the raids. You are a little bit more on edge. You really have to push yourself to perform to your very best of your abilities. And therefore, it's fun.
Oh, yeah. It is hard to go back to raiding on softcore after raiding on hardcore. I still remember the first time I did ZG on hardcore. And, I had done ZG like hundreds of times, right? And still, I was like, you're just running in your head, thinking in your head, like, do I really know everything about this raid? I feel like I know everything about this raid, but do I really know everything about this? And it's an intense experience. I remember the first time I did it, I was sweating. I was literally sweating. But it's fun, right? It's intense in a way that softcore raiding isn't.
Last question. In the light of this experience, what would your advice be to offer to other hardcore raids attempting high-level content like AQ40?
That's a tough one. I think there's a lot that needs to be in place in order to attempt high-level raids in hardcore. One thing is certainly that you need extensive planning, right? You need extensive planning. And not only do you need extensive planning, but often, even if you know the traditional strategies to clear these encounters, often they need to be modified, right? Not only that though, but also attempt these raids and do them successfully. You need a robust community, especially on Turtle. If you're raiding on Hardcore Classic, this is less important because if you've ever seen those streams, right? If someone dies in a raid, they're kind of a stormtrooper. They get replaced pretty much instantly. Our community is a little smaller, so you need a robust community. You can't just replace some guy. You need a level of trust that if something wrong does happen, or if something bad does happen and someone dies, that they don't distrust you anymore, right? They know that you did everything that you can and that you're still trustworthy. Getting that stuff in place is extremely rewarding, right? It means that you have a tight-knit community of people who are loyal and dedicated and trust each other. And work together daily to solve difficult tasks. That's very rewarding. I mean, personally, as someone doing a lot of the planning for raids, that's fun too, right? It's a puzzle. Getting these puzzles solved just right is it's a very enjoyable experience. So it's hard work. There's a lot that needs to be done. At the same time, though, it is fun and enjoyable.
Thank you very much, Ellyy, for having the time on the show to tell about this experience. More of the less enjoyable ones, of course. So thank you very much for that one, and I hope to see you back into AQ40 very soon again.
Yeah, thank you for having me again, and I love talking to you about this.
Great job, man. Good luck. And that's it for the interviews, guys. We're going into the last music segment, and usually it should be metal music, but I want to combine it for the techno lovers. So this will be Tegel, Mechno music, whatever you like. So now we're going to party big. Get your butts to Scarlet Monastery because we are going out with a bang. Get into World Chat, tell everybody, nerds, turn on to the radio because we are going to rock hard. Here we go.
Sail to distant shores, stand up on the prow, noble Borgeye steer, steady course to the haven, few many foemen. My mother told me, someday I will buy galley with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up on the prow, noble Borgeye steer, steady course to the haven, few many foemen.
Ready, guys? Good way, Fnar. Get them here. We're going to stomp and bomb.
I can do that.
And there we go, guys. All of a sudden 2 hours have passed, and Tavern Talks with Sheal is coming to an end. We have had Vahaenys from the Scarlet Legion, we have had Elberetha, the Tank Mage, and we have had Ellyy from Hard Chores. It was absolutely amazing experience. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. However, I did save this last spot for a few announcements. First of all, next Tavern Talks with Sheal, first Monday of June, will be with no other than the Guild Texas Knights. You heard that correctly. I'm going to talk with Texas Knights, and I want to have questions from you, the community. So look out for Reddit and see if there is a post from me about the Texas Knights where you can post your questions, because I really like to do that correctly for you guys. Yes, it's going to be spicy, Budsy, or Buddy Z. So please tune in there. I also want to announce one more time that DJ No Favors will be live this Wednesday at 23 server time, so be sure to check that one out. And lastly, I want to say something about my last stream. It was a ninja stream at Aberdeen, which was absolutely massive. 900 people tuned in. And right after I finished that show, people went to my Twitch and gave me so many subscribers to support me. And I want to thank everyone once more again for that. I included them in the VOD to thank them, because I did not have my Twitch set up that they were shouted out on stream, because I was not expecting that. And I also went through my head what was happening to me then. And it was this song that I'm going to have queued up for next. It was from Crusade from Gabri Ponti. It is about a magical world, a promise, and that's Turtle WoW, I assume. That's for me. And it just really hit me at that point. All the love, all the great people, simply the fact that I can do this for you. It's absolutely awesome. Tavern Talks with Sheal is stopping right now. I queued up 2 more songs. After that, we have an art after party on my Twitch, DJ Sheal. So if you want the after party, come to Scarlet Monastery. I will be in game. Come to my Twitch, Tavern Talks with not Tavern Talks with Sheal, DJ Sheal, and we're going to spin a few more records there. So if you want more, I see you there. And otherwise, just listen closely to this song, because it's special. Enjoy.
Space has no limits. One man must use a unique gift to find his way through a world of magic. One man must use a unique gift. One way. One destiny.
Guys, I do not care where you are at the moment in Turtle WoW. If you are with me, somewhere we'll chat. I want you all guys all to jump and celebrate. Because we are gamers. We are home. This is our place. This is where you can be who you want to be. Scream! Jump! Celebrate! Hug your guildmaster. Hug your guildie. I do not care. And jump! And celebrate! Welcome home!